There's a moment so small it almost disappears. You're talking, maybe to your dog, maybe just talking, and somewhere mid-sentence, they stop. Their ears shift. Their eyes lock onto your face. And then, slowly, that head tips sideways like they're trying to weigh the meaning of every word you've said. It happens in millions of homes, every single day, and every single time it does, people smile. They reach for their phone. They say, "Look at what they're doing," to whoever happens to be nearby. But have you ever actually stopped to wonder what's happening inside that moment? Not the charm of it, the mechanics of it. Because it turns out the head tilt is one of the most psychologically rich behaviors your dog performs, and what's driving it says something genuinely profound about the relationship between you. Thousands of years before dogs learned to read human faces, their ancestors were survival machines built around auditory precision. Wolves and the wild canids who eventually became our companions relied on sound, the way we rely on language, directional, layered, full of information that could mean the difference between a meal and a threat. Their ears were designed to catch and triangulate even the faintest signal, and their brains were wired to work hard on anything that sounded important. That primal drive didn't disappear when dogs moved from forests into our homes. It redirected. The sounds that once meant predator or prey became human voices, human tones, the rise and fall of speech from the people they bonded with most deeply. And that ancient, instinctual architecture, built for decoding, got aimed at you. The head tilt is, at its core, an act of acoustic engineering. By rotating the head even a few degrees, your dog shifts their outer ear in a way that changes how sound reaches the inner ear. They're tuning, they're focusing, they are, in the most literal sense, trying to hear you better. That powerful instinct didn't become obsolete, it just found a new purpose. If your dog tilts their head when you speak, but barely reacts to similar sounds from strangers or from the television, pay attention to that. It's not a coincidence. Dogs develop what researchers describe as auditory familiarity, a deep recognition of the acoustic signature of the people they're attached to. Your voice has a particular pitch, rhythm, and pattern your dog has cataloged over months or years. When you speak, especially in a rising or animated tone, something in their brain lights up. The tilt is an active response to a voice that matters. You're not just noise to them, you're a source of meaning, and they're working to extract every bit of it. Then there's the dog who tilts once, holds it for a beat, then tilts again in the opposite direction, like they're recalibrating. This one fascinates behavioral scientists because it seems to suggest active processing rather than simple reflex. Your dog is working through something. Maybe the word you used sounded almost like a familiar word, walk sounding briefly like talk, treat close enough to street to create momentary confusion. The brain engages, the head follows, and what you're watching is something very close to genuine concentration. It's the canine equivalent of furrowing your brow when a sentence doesn't quite land. Not distress, just effort. Here's where it gets really interesting. Research from Budapest's Family Dog Project found that dogs who were trained to understand specific words showed different brain responses to those words versus meaningless sounds. They could distinguish vocabulary. And here's the remarkable part. When familiar, meaningful words were spoken in an emotionally expressive tone, the response intensified. Your dog may tilt more when you say outside or dinner time or their name, not because those sounds are louder, but because those sounds carry weight in their internal world. The tilt is them leaning into the meaning. It's not reflex anymore. It's recognition. There's one more layer most owners don't know about. Dogs with longer muzzles, think collies, German shepherds, greyhounds, have been observed tilting their heads more frequently than dogs with flatter facial structures. The leading theory? Their muzzle partially blocks their lower visual field when they look straight ahead. Tilting the head shifts their snout out of the sight line, giving them a cleaner view of your face. They're not just listening to you, they're watching you at the same time, reading your expression while processing your words. It's multitasking in the most instinctive, tender sense. You might think they're just trying to look charming, but what they're actually doing is optimizing the data stream coming from the most important source in their world. Now here's where I want you to sit with something for a moment. The head tilt requires your dog to stop what they're doing. It requires them to redirect full attention towards you. And it requires a level of trust. Because in turning they, or head sideways, they're momentarily breaking their defensive posture, softening their stance, making themselves a little more open. That's not nothing, that's a choice. Studies have shown that dogs who display more frequent social attention behaviors toward their owners, eye contact, proximity, orientation toward the face, consistently score higher on measures of secure attachment. The head tilt falls squarely in that category. It's not random, it's relational. Your dog is saying, in the oldest, quietest language they have, I am paying attention to you. You are worth paying attention to. There's something researchers call social referencing, the way dogs look to their person's face for information about how to interpret an ambiguous situation. The head tilt may be one expression of this. Your dog isn't just hearing you, they're checking you. They're reading your emotional tone, your expression, the music behind your words, and the fact that they do this at all. The fact that they have evolved the capacity to care what your face says is one of the most extraordinary things about the relationship between dogs and humans. You did that. Your presence, your voice, your consistency, that's what made you someone worth tilting toward. And here's something fascinating. The benefits of this small moment flow in both directions. Research on human-animal interaction has shown that simply watching a dog perform attentive, affiliative behaviors, like the head tilt, triggers a release of oxytocin in the observer, the same bonding hormone, the same chemical warmth. You see your dog tilt their head, and something in your brain responds the way it responds to a child's smile or a friend's full, focused attention. There's a reason this behavior is so universally disarming. You and your dog have co-evolved to move each other. Their attentiveness activates your warmth. Your warmth deepens their bond. Each tilted head is a small turn in that long, ongoing conversation between two species who found something extraordinary in each other. Not anxiously, not needily, just watchfully, warmly, the way good companions do. So what is your dog really telling you when they tip that soft head sideways and look at you like you're the most interesting thing in their world? They're telling you that your voice carries meaning to them, that your face is a language they've learned to read, that in a world full of sounds and signals, yours is the one worth leaning into. They are telling you, in the oldest, quietest language they have, that they choose you. And honestly, after a long day, after everything, there are worse things to come home to than a creature who tilts their whole head just to hear you better. That's not a small thing, that's the whole thing. Thanks for watching. If you loved learning about your furry best friend, be sure to like and subscribe for more.